Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. I hope you all are doing well tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery patterns and kits. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, where we relax and craft and we work on a project together all the way from beginning to end for about an hour here in the evening. All the replays will go up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies, so be sure to check that and click subscribe there. And you can watch these live videos on the Penguin and Fish Facebook page, and you can also, if you want to share what you're making, go to the Penguin and Fish Crafters group and share whatever you're working on, even if it's not this current project that we're doing. So we are working on the Charming Chevrons quilt by Krista Watson of Krista Quilts. I think we are gonna get done with this tiny little stack of half square triangles that we have to do tonight. So here's the plan. We are going to take these. We have drawn a pencil line down two pieces of fabric like this. We've put two squares together, drawn a line down the diagonal, and then sewed on either side of the line, so you can kind of see better here. We have two guys sewn there. We are going to cut straight down the middle of those so we get two pieces, and then when we unfold those two pieces, we'll get a half square triangle on that side, and then that other piece that we'll get another half square triangle. So it's just a square made up of two triangles like this. So after we do that, I think we'll finally get through this little stack. It's a never-ending stack, but I think this is the end of this stack. So all of these will get sewn into the matching pairs will get sewn into a half of a chevron, like half of a V. So all of them will go in this direction, the ones that we're doing now. And then we have a whole second stack like this tall, that will be doing the same process, cutting it down, making that half square triangle, and then pairing them up. But that time we'll be sewing them the other direction. So ultimately we'll be able to put two of them together to make a V, a little chevron. So that's the plan. Tonight we are going to get to start to sew these, I think. We do have to make it through this little stack first of trimming the half square triangles. So that is the plan for tonight. Thanks again for joining me, and let's get going here. Okay, I'm gonna flip you around. If you do wanna work on this with us, the pattern is available. It's from Krista Watson of Krista Quilts. And there's a link in this Facebook post for that, or you can check out Krista Quilts, KristaQuilts.com. So here we go. Boop. It's gonna be so pretty. All right, flipping you around, let's get going. Oh, thanks, Patty. I am totally loving this red so far. So we have, let me show you what we got. We have this whole stack that we've already made into those first half chevrons. So that's pretty good. We got a good stack going. And so those are done and ready. Those are ready for the other half of the chevron to be sewn together. We do have our stack of trimmed half square triangles here. Ooh, let's see. Did I put these here funny? So these will get sewn together. You can see we got that half chevron. So it's a half square triangle, but putting two matching pairs together, and we get that half chevron. And so that's that. Actually, here's my other purple one. I had duplicate, so there. I think we're turned around correctly again. And then we have this little pile here yet that we have to trim up. So not too many left. That's exciting. All right, I'm gonna get you guys over here. We will be pressing as we do this. So here we are. Oh, Joe, I'm not quite positive how many total blocks I'll have. I'm doing the twin size. So if you get the pattern's really great because it shows this is what a lap size would be. This is what a twin and a queen. So the block count for the twin, I'll have 99 total, but that's like the full V is is what the count is. But yeah, so it'll be different for whatever size you want to make. And the fun thing is you can just keep adding them too. If you wanted it a little bit bigger, you could just make a few more of these half square triangles and then make your quilt a bit bigger. Like if you wanted to go from a lap size to a twin size or something. So it's a super flexible pattern, which is nice. Thanks again for coming in tonight, everyone. I wasn't here yesterday. Sorry for the late notice on that. I watched the State of the Union address, but man, I also am not sure I would have made it anyway. I was so tired yesterday, and you know what? Now thinking over it a little bit, I think it was the flu shot. So I got my flu shot, which my mom yelled at me today because I'm first getting the flu shot now. She got hers in October. I'm getting mine in like basically February. So I got the flu shot on Monday, and it went well. It didn't hurt at all. You know, no swelling or anything like that. I thought I was good to go. And then the next day, which was yesterday, I just couldn't concentrate, couldn't get anything done, and I was just so tired. And, you know, it was one of those days where you feel, only way I can think about it is like mosquitoes. So one mosquito on their own, like one little silly thing happening during the day, or like one email that you have to take care of right away, or one, you know, going to bed a little too late the day before, getting up too early, or, you know, just, you know, my shoulder hurts a little, or whatever. All those little things wouldn't be anything on their own. But man, adding them all together yesterday, I was so tired and out of it. But you know, and I couldn't place it anywhere either. Because I'm like, oh man, is it because I got this email today, or is it because of this? But thinking about it today, I think it's just the flu shot. I think my body was just working its way through it, like figuring out, okay, you injected me with this thing. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, all right, I think I got it analyzed. All right, now go to bed and you're okay. So I think that's actually what was going on. But man, I was confused yesterday about what was happening. I was just tired. But man, I feel so much better today. Joe, I am not positive how many fabrics I used. So I actually ran out of fabrics. So I'm using one color for the background, the main kind of background color. I mean, I don't know if you could technically call it a background because there's equal amounts of this color and then all the other colors, but I'm using this red throughout. So the red's kind of like my main background color. And then I'm using a variety of fat quarters and fat eighths and yardage actually for the secondary color. And in the instructions, it's very clear on how many, you know, if you're using fat quarters, oh, you'll need this many fat quarters for a queen size and this many fat quarters for a twin. And then it also does the same thing if you're using charm packs, which are pre-cut 5-inch squares. And it'll also tell you how much you would need if you're using yardage, like off the bolt yardage. So I started by grabbing fat quarters that I thought would be good with it. But then I realized that not all of them were fat quarters. Fat quarters is just like a 21-inch by an 18-inch or so cut of fabric, which is a pretty common cut of fabric in the quilting industry. And I had a bunch of those, but I realized that some of them were only about half that size. So I didn't have enough of the fat quarter cuts, like how the instructions said. But I happen to have purple yardage that kind of would match. sitting around in my immediate area, so I cut whatever I needed yet from there. So I am using the instructions, but I just kind of ran out of what I needed for the instructions, so introduced some yardage into it. So the instructions will be really clear on how much you'll need, and if you click the link for the instructions, or for the pattern, if you click through the images on the website, one of the images will be how much yardage and of what, or fat quarters or whatever that you'll need for the project. So you can pick the size that you want, and it'll tell you right there how much fabric you need. So I would definitely reference that image in the pattern if you haven't purchased the pattern yet. That'll give you a sense of what you might need while the pattern's being shipped to you, or you know, seeing if you have enough or what you might need to purchase as well for fabric. All right, so we are just trimming. I've pressed them open, and I've pressed a flat seam here, or an open seam. So instead of leaving like both of the pieces of fabric on either one side or the other, I've pressed them open. And that makes it so that there's only 2 layers of fabric here. We have this fabric, and then 2 layers of fabric here, this and this, versus, you know, if it was like this, then I'd have 3 layers of fabric on this side and only 1 layer of fabric on this side. This equals it out a little bit more. And according to Krista, who is the writer of this pattern, she says that that helps with the free motion quilting once we get to that part. It helps have the quilt just basically lie flatter because it doesn't have all those layers of fabric for us to have to like leap over, sort of thing. And it's the free motion quilting is one of my main reasons for working on this project. I have not done free motion quilting on a quilt before. I've only practiced like once on a little scrap. So this is gonna be my project to learn, hopefully, how to free motion quilt. And what that means is if you see a quilt that has super decorative lines and feathers and just shapes, it was either made on one of those giant long arm quilting machines that has a whole frame, or it's done with free motion quilting on a smaller machine like what I have. And what that means is the needle is just kind of going, and you control the fabric. So you take the fabric and you move it around, and that's what makes the pretty decorative areas. And you know, it takes, from what I hear, a lot of practice and a lot of, you know, learning how to control your stitches so you're not moving too fast or too slow. And you always kind of have to, you're moving, so you always have to kind of know where you want to go next. That's what I'm kind of afraid about. That's my fear, is I'll get stuck in a corner and not know how to get out of it. So we'll see. We'll come upon some of those problems, I'm sure, and we will learn how to get out of them. And you know, I'm reading Krista's book. I have that right here too. This is by the same designer, Krista Watson, Machine Quilting with Style. So she has some like basically training, some basic training for free motion quilting. And I'm going to use that as my guide. I've also been reading up on it a little bit, so hopefully we'll be able to troubleshoot if stuff goes wrong. And I'm hoping you guys will be able to help me out too if I get stuck, or you know, something's just wrong, like it's skipping stitches, or you know, who knows what. But we'll be doing that after we finish this top. Obviously, we gotta sew the quilt first before we can quilt it together. I love this fabric with the little flowers. Open that seam again. Thank y'all for coming to hang out again. Best part of the day. Let's give it one more press on the front for good measure. All right, let's see. Ooh, you have a computer-driven long arm. See, that's so cool, Ramona. So those long arm machines that I was talking about where it has the big frame, it has kind of an arm. I mean, you know, it's an arm, and then it has like handlebars, and you can move that around. So it's like driving a big machine kind of. And they also make those so you can put like a pre-programmed pattern in there, and it will quilt up your whole quilt with that computerized pattern. So you don't have to be doing it manually, like figuring it all out. Some of them do have that option for like an all-over pretty pattern. I mean, you still have to watch it and take care of it and make sure things are going right. I mean, I don't think you can just walk away and it's magically done. But it's kind of a fun feature on those big long arms. I would love to have one. I have no idea what I would do with it. It would just, I mean, you know, I would quilt on it, but I don't have any, you know, I don't know. It would just be a fun toy. It'd be fun. I'd enjoy it. I think I would need to build onto the house for it. In one of those Splendid Sampler, not the Splendid Sampler, I Love Home quilt blocks that we worked on a couple months ago, one of the houses in the block, it had like a little sun patio on, and we were calling that our long arm quilting room. Maybe one day I'll have a little sun patio, and that'll be the sole designation for it, is the long arm quilting room. That'd be pretty good if you ask me. You could start a quilting business and quilt for people who don't do it themselves. I thought about that, Antoinette, but I don't know. I'd be so scared to work on someone else's project, I think. I have a hunch that that's not an uncommon feeling for people who are starting those businesses, but man, I would want it to be nice for that other person, and I'd be afraid of messing it up or something. It would be fun. It'd be fun just seeing the quilts that people send you, you know? Looking at the quilt and trying to figure out what would be a fun pattern for this, and I don't know. Let's work up to that. I think I should probably learn how to free motion quilt on my own machine and see if it's even anything that I enjoy. We'll see. I'm excited to try though. Oh, thanks, Antoinette. That'd be cool. I've tried one out at a quilt show before, and dang, that would be fun. Ha! You have tons to send me, Robin. Nice. Well, keep hanging on to them. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll be ready to quilt all those quilts. They are fun machines, though, man. All right, trim that guy up. You won't have the nerve to do someone else's quilt. Deborah, that's a little bit how I feel. Too afraid of messing it up. I do enjoy working on my own, though. I think that's the camp I would be in, Deborah. I would just be too scared to do other people's, but wouldn't care at all about experimenting on my own. And if it turns out crappy, then oh well. Most likely I've learned something along the way to experiment with next time. Like that's the world I want to be in, not the world of like, oh my gosh, this is for someone else and I have to make it really good. I just like learning and adapting and trying to get better and all that. And I don't know. I suppose you do that anyway, even if you're not working on your own. But I don't know. That's a little high risk for my for my temperament, I think. Few more here yet, and then we'll. I think we'll still have time to start sewing these. We definitely will not finish sewing all of them tonight because we got a pretty good stack going here right now. But I'm almost through. I think I can say we're not quite through, but stack's getting smaller and smaller. So I think we'll have a little bit of time to sew before our time's up for the night. Ooh, on Friday, oh gosh, which is coming up already. On Friday, the hubs and I are gonna take the day and go check out all the Super Bowl stuff in Minneapolis here. So if you didn't know, I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota here, and it is Super Bowl crazy here lately. They have just stuff everywhere and booths and, you know, food trucks and just everything and rides and all this stuff downtown now for the Super Bowl and, you know, the week before and the concerts and all this other stuff. So I'm going to go check some of that out on Friday, I think. Crease lines that are not quite ironing out will come out. Oh, if you spritz with vinegar. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, because I do have some little creases in here. I think I'll probably wait till the top is done, and then maybe we'll see if I need to take care of them. I actually like washing my quilts when they're done. So when I'm done with the whole quilt, so not you know, I won't wash the quilt top until it's all quilted together. But when the entire quilt's done, I'll give it a wash in the machine. I kind of like it how it poofs up a little bit, and it looks like a real worn quilt sort of look. I like that, so we'll give this a little wash when we're all done. Is there a store dedicated to the Super Bowl at the mall? I don't know if there's a dedicated store, but they have set up whole areas for the Super Bowl at the Mall of America. I mean, they have like all like newscaster areas set up, like a whole like farm of newscasting area, and I think they're gonna have like players are going there to talk and, you know, sign autographs and stuff like that. And I think that's where they'll go to do the rounds for all the different newscasts. I think that's set up at the Mall of America. But there's all sorts of stuff, like everything you can think of that you'd see at a festival or that sort of thing going on. And on top of that, it is Winter Carnival, which is a yearly event in St. Paul, which is, you know, just a little ways away from Minneapolis. And there they have huge ice sculptures and all that there. So, you know, it's like two giant parties are going on in the Minneapolis Twin Cities area here right now. So instead of completely missing it, we thought we'd go and check things out on Friday. We don't have like tickets or anything, but uh-oh, look at this. It looks like I sewed two together here. So we were kind of afraid that this might happen. That means a seam ripper. We got a seam ripper, this guy. I think I have a ringer. So I have one extra here. I think I might just swap this one out, even though I love this fabric, but maybe we can use it for a label or something on the back. That'd be good. Then it'd make it kind of special. And I'll trade in this one. So we are gonna tap out on this one. But look here, if you kind of aren't understanding what I did here is there's two squares put together here. On this one, I accidentally grabbed two red squares. So see, I got two red squares plus that second square. So I have actually three pieces sewn together here. And that ain't right. So we'll just let this one sit. And I had one extra, so I'm trading it out for the one extra. Well, that worked out, having that extra one, so hopefully I didn't do that again anywhere. So I'll seam rip that out later, and you know, maybe I'll use it on the back of the quilt for a label, or we'll do something with it, because that's one of my favorite fabrics that I have there, that flower, that gray with those flowers. Gotta do something pretty with that. Good thing I had an extra. Man, we were being careful about that too when we were sewing and putting these together. Like we even mentioned that that might happen, and we were all careful, but ah well. If that's only one, then we're fine. Then we've avoided the seam ripper. If that happens again, then we gotta get that seam ripper out. I'm hoping that means we still have an even amount here. It should, because we had one extra. If not, we'll have an extra half chevron that we'll discover soon enough too. All right, let's press. Ha! You haven't seen me seam rip yet. I have not on this project, I don't think. Hey, we'll get the seam ripper out, maybe not tonight, because I don't think we'll be done chain piecing, but we'll get it out tomorrow, and we'll use that seam ripper trick that we've been doing, where we put the seam ripper in the top of a spool of thread, and then we use that to cut the pieces apart, the little chain pieces. And I'll show you exactly what I mean tomorrow when we're that far. Man, tonight I'm really hoping to get all these done, and I think we will. I think there's only 3 or 4 more. In the never-ending pile, and then we're gonna have a second never-ending pile coming up here for the chevrons that go in the other direction. But I'm considering that a whole nother step, because we have all of one half chevrons done. Oh yeah, I could do a half chevron as a label. That'd be kind of cool. I like that idea, Patricia. It could be like at the back could be like all this red color, or maybe the purple or something, all one color, and then just one half chevron in the bottom that we can use as our label or something. Stitch some, like the date on or something like that. That'd be kind of fun. All right, we have 3 left. I think we got disconnected there for a sec, but it looks like we're back. So hopefully we stay okay. Might be time to uninstall Facebook and install it again and make sure phone's up to date and everything like that. Because sometimes that, well, I don't know. Sometimes it seems like that's sometimes the cause of poor connection, but I don't know. I don't have any definitive proof of that. Oh, I like this one still. This one, it just looks like a rainbow diamond, I think. It's pretty. I have not burnt myself yet. That's that's impressive to me. I feel like I'm jinxing myself maybe saying that, but that's been good. Usually I burn myself once on this iron here. All right, let's flatten that. Okay, trim this, and then there's 2 more. Just lining up that diagonal with the diagonal on my ruler. Then trimming off this tiny little edge. Just so they're all perfect and exactly the same, which will make these squares way easier to put together. Bonnie, it came off so quickly. So I can sometimes get away with like 3 days of nail polish. But that's stretching it. So the pink nail polish, it lasted 2 days, and it all came off this morning. Like it just kind of could peel off in one big bout. So I went back to this one just because, I don't know, I'm undecided if I like that nail polish. If it just goes on weird and it smells weird, I'm not used to it. So I did what was easiest. Put this stuff back on. If this doesn't last till Friday, then maybe you'll see the pink again. All right, there we go. And 2 left here. Assuming I didn't mess any more of these up, I hope. Have I chosen the design from Krista's book? All right, so I'm not going to do any of the walking foot designs. So Krista's book, The Machine Quilting with Style, it has instructions for 2 types of machine quilting. One is a walking foot, which is, it looks like a kind of a big foot that you put on your machine. But what it's doing is it's grabbing both the top and the bottom of your fabric and moving the top and the bottom instead of just the bottom, which is normally how things work, and then it slides under the foot. This one grabs the top and the bottom and moves it along. So that's a walking foot. It helps walk it along. And that's good if you want to do straight line stuff. So, and it's a common thing to use when quilting. So Krista shows some fun designs that you can do just making straight lines and fun shapes and stuff. So that's the walking foot. The free motion foot is where it's just a free-for-all, and you move the fabric however you want. So it's kind of the opposite of a walking foot, really. I am going to focus on the free motion quilting. So I'm going to be using a free motion foot, which is also called a darning foot. I'm going to be using that. However, I think before I get going, so if this is our quilt, I think I'm going to use my walking foot to outline the zigzags first, because I think what that will do is it will hold down my little area because it's already quilted with the zigzags, so that when I free motion quilt on the insides of these, then it won't shift a lot. So I think I will be using the free motion or the walking foot on my machine, but just in the seam of those zigzags. So stitch in the ditch is what that's called when you stitch right in a seam. So I'm going to stitch right in the seam of all the zigzags, and I think that will hold everything together more for when I do the free motion where I'm moving things all around. So I am not choosing one design either. I am going to try and practice all sorts of things because, again, I want this to be a learning quilt for me where I learn. Oh, your Pac-Man quilt, that's fun, Patricia. Your Pac-Man foot. I want this to be a learning thing for me since I have not done free motion quilting. Oh, well, Joyce, this, like, stitching the zigzags, that to me is kind of like basting. I'm basting my area so that it's all held together for when I free motion quilt. Hopefully that will work. And hopefully I'm not setting myself up for errors by doing that. But I think it's going to be a good thing. So I will be stitching the zigzag first, and then I'll be trying all sorts of designs. So I might just work on one design, like maybe it's just squiggles or something, or little loops. I'll work on one thing, hopefully until I get the hang of it. So like maybe I'm just going up and down in a chevron like this, you know, just to get used to going up and down and all that. So maybe that will be like my first thing. I don't know quite yet, but I'm hoping to do each. I don't want each line to necessarily have to be, every single one has to be different, but I want to do lots of different ones. And for me, it's going to be about improving, like, you know, my loops at the end, you know, I'm hoping will be way better than the first one I do, you know. So I will definitely pin it, Ramona. I will pin the quilt together. So I want all the layers of the quilt. So we'll finish the quilt top, right? And then I have to make a quilt back as well. But hopefully we'll just try and keep that simple. Maybe I kind of want to sew a few of my scraps in there. Maybe I'll just, well, I don't know. We'll figure that out, what to do for the back of the quilt. So I need to make the back and the front of the quilt. And then the batting will be in the middle. And those 3 layers is what makes up a quilt, right? I will baste together those layers with pins. So those are those little curved safety pins. So those 3 layers, I will definitely baste. I'll hold those together, and then I will zigzag. And after I'm done zigzagging, I'll probably take out all the pins at that point, because I don't think I'll need them anymore, because it'll be held together by all my zigzags. So then when we start the free motion, it'll be free of all the basting safety pins, curved safety pins, and we'll just have these little areas being held together by what I already sewed for the zigzag, the stitch in the ditch. And then I'm hoping that greatly makes the actual free motion easier, because I won't have to deal with fabric slipping around so much, I don't think. So that's my current theory in my head of how this is going to go down. I'm gradually planning it all out in my head a little bit there. Oh yeah, so Ramona, just like that, I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I think this pattern is really perfect for my purpose, like perfect for learning to free motion quilt, because it does allow me to stitch those zigzags first, so I don't have like a big free open area. I can just work in my tiny zigzags and focus on one design and really practice. I don't have to like make intricate florals or like borders or anything like that. I just have to stay in my zigzag and practice the one thing, you know what I mean? So I think that's my plan. And I want to see progress. I want to see the horrible rows at the beginning compared to, in theory, hopefully, the better rows as we finish. So I'm pretty excited about that. I've never done a free motion quilt before. Honestly, most of my quilts have been hand tied, which I really enjoy and like doing, but you know, I don't want to be limited to that, you know? Maybe I don't stop hand tying quilts, but I don't want to be limited. I still would like, you know, the options. I want to know that I can do an intricate free motion design or something or another if the project calls for it or something. So that's my plan. I don't think I'll be quilting every single row. I think we'll do every other. And I think I might quilt on the patterned areas instead of the red areas. So the red areas might have no quilting, or maybe I add an extra little line if I feel like it later. But I think I'll do the quilting in the pattern area because, you know, that in theory will hide mistakes a little bit better, I think. And I just kind of like the idea of the just the bold red just floating off the top because there's no quilting in it. We'll see. You're liking the idea of the zigzags to hold the quilt top down. Yeah, I think that'll be good. You've never heard of doing that? Oh, you're excited to see me do it first. So I was reading a little bit about free motion quilting. I have this older book. I think it's from like 1996 or something. It's not that old really, but in book years, it's probably a little older. But they mentioned something like it's good to, like if I'm gonna quilt in a square, to like sew the square first and then do all your decorative stuff. And so I'm kind of using that a little bit as a guide as well. All right, that was our last one right here. My pile is gone. So all right, let's get sewing these next. I think we can sew a few of these tonight yet. Let's head over to the machine. I gotta throw my little stack of crazy right here. I've been kind of collecting all of the little scribble bits here. I have a pile going. Here, I can show you. There's the pile is right there. It's been getting bigger and bigger. So all right, let's clean this up and I think we should be good to go. It's a little dusty over here from all that floss, but I think we're ready. All right, get that on. So I have my stack right here. And remember, I placed them already so that I should just be able to take the top one, bring it down, and I should have that chevron. I'm gonna definitely double check every single time, but I want that chevron in this direction. So I'm going to set my pile over here and I'll just be grabbing the top two to make that chevron, and then we're gonna fold it and I'm gonna sew along that edge here. And I'm gonna just kind of place it on top of each other. And if I need to move it over, like if it's not matching up perfectly, I'm just gonna kitty scratch the top, which will just move the top layer just a hair. And that will get the edges to line up a little bit better. Oh, I put this here to block all my scraps from going on the inside. Hopefully that worked okay. All right, so I'm doing 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's actually a scant quarter, which just means like a tish away from, a tish shorter than 1/4 inch. Like a hair's worth. Oh, you can't wait to start this, Vicki, yay! Oh, you got everything ready to go. Well, I will be here working on this project for a while. Like it took us a couple of weeks to just get these half square triangles cut. And this is only half. So I have the whole other, the chevrons that go the other direction. I have all of those to do yet with the cutting the diagonal and trimming it and all that. So there's definitely time to start and still sew with me. All right, there's our next chevron. So you notice I did not take the fabric off. I'm gonna leave that there. This is called chain piecing. I'm gonna leave that there while I start up the second one right away. And that saves time. I don't have to snip that off. It also saves thread. I don't have like long strands of thread that I'm having to trim and deal with every single time. We're just gonna keep going in one long, long chain. So I also have a business card here. If you haven't seen me do this before, I have a business card here that's set at my 1/4 inch seam allowance as well. And what's nice about that is I can butt up this edge of my fabric right up against that business card. And that's like a nice second reminder of the seam allowance. Like I can put the fabric right up against that. And it's a physical reminder of it. there's that pretty purple again. Putting those edges together, just double checking with some kitty scratches. And you are more than welcome to pin your pieces together as well, or clip them. I mean, you could pin all of them before you've sewed if you really wanted to. I'm just kind of doing it as I go. For me, these pieces are kind of small enough that, I don't know, if you sew them right away, I don't really think you need pins so much. But if you feel more comfortable with them, then for sure, give it a go. Fuzzle, get off of there. There we go. All right. And I'm taking my time. I think I sew a little bit straighter that way, and then the camera doesn't shake either. But here, let me show you the chain piecing now. See, so we have all of these are in like one long chain, and then we'll snip all these little threads, and then we'll have, you know, they'll all be individualized then. But right now we're keeping them all in the one long chain, and we will keep that up till we're done. So we'll keep sewing tonight. I'm not sure we'll get done with this whole stack, just because this is a little bit bigger stack than I think we've sewn before. But we'll for sure finish it up tomorrow, and we will press them all as well. You find yourself using kitty scratch when sewing and lining my fabrics? Yes! It's helpful. Just, you know, sometimes you just can't place the piece of fabric perfectly on top of the other piece of fabric. I mean, that's pretty difficult sometimes. So just a little scratching it on the surface of the fabric will move it just enough. My mom taught me that. She started quilting before me. She started as an adult too, but she did it before me, and we didn't know what to call it, so calling it kitty scratching. Seems to work. Ooh, this is not one move forward. Let's lift it up. There we go. I just lifted the presser foot up and put my fabric a little higher up on the feed dogs. So the feed dogs are, if I can get real close here, I'll zoom in. The feed dogs, so this is the presser foot, right? This guy right here that's going up and down. The feed dogs are these little guys that come up and down there, and that's pulling. You see it go like this. That's pulling the fabric along. And let's get another one started. And my last piece, it wasn't moving very well. It's because it wasn't catching on the feed dogs. It needed to grab on the feed dogs. Yeah, see, so it just grabbed on that one, okay. But I just, last time I just lifted up and pushed it in a little bit, and that helped it out just a hair. Oop, wrong way there. Well, I can never zoom out very well. Hold on. Zoom out. There we go. I'm pinching. There we go. We're back. My Kenmore machine. I love it. And man, when you get it all cleaned up, and I just got a new belt for it because the belt was broken, and that must have been the original belt. It was acting weird, and then I took the bottom apart and discovered the belt was all cracked and broken and barely holding it together, like by a couple strings, basically. So I got a new belt put in, and I oiled it myself and all that, and it sounds so much better. I know, Deborah, isn't it? I just saw that too. I'm definitely going to do that. So once we're done with this stack here, I think it'll definitely be time to clean this up a little bit. This red, I mean, we are sewing quite a bit for this, but this red does seem to make a lot of fuzz. And all that cutting, I mean, I've just been shushing my cutting over here, so I'm probably getting dust and fuzz in here just from cutting near it. So that's probably not a great idea. But yeah, we're getting fuzzy in this machine here for sure. So I think we'll continue with this chain piecing, but then maybe after the chain piecing is done tomorrow, maybe we'll take a look at it and get my little brush and we'll clean it out a little bit. Oh, you love your Learn to Sew on a Kenmore? You love them? Yeah, this was my mom's Kenmore from the 70s. Yeah, this whole thing is all full of that red fuzz. It really is all over right now. It's definitely time to clean. We might be close to needing a bobbin change too. So yeah, and this is a great time to stop and clean it up because this is a big project we did so far. These first half of the half chevrons. It might be time for a new needle as well. So we will check all that out. Yeah, and I might oil it up this weekend too. So yeah, so tomorrow, that'd be kind of fun to do. Tomorrow we'll clean it up a little bit. Well, first we'll finish stitching these. And then we'll kind of take it apart a little bit. Not the whole thing, but we'll take the bobbin out. I'll move my table, I think. And we'll take the bobbin out and clean up that whole area. We could do the whole oiling of it and stuff too. That might be kind of fun. I'm just getting used to oiling it. I have to get my little guide out. There's a little drawing that comes with the manual on all the points to oil. But that might be fun to take a look at all that too. So maybe it'll be a cleaning up time tomorrow after we're done sewing these. We do need to press them yet as well, but maybe we clean up the machine first and get a new needle in there and oil it up. I'm trying to be better about all that. That's something that I never used to do, was never on my brain to do before. So it's definitely something I've been trying to get better at for sure. Can you imagine your Kenmore saying, please feed me, yes, need oil, clean me up. You can tell, like it definitely, if it's not running well, it sounds like it's working, like it's hammering it out. So we probably will notice a difference in the sound and it'll just be feeling smoother when we clean it. So yeah, that'll be a good time. We'll do that together. It's something I never used to do. So if you're curious about what that all means and how to clean it, we'll do a little bit of that here. I'm sure I have a lot of room to improve on that, but we'll give it a go. Once we're done with these half chevrons. I like these pretty blue ones. Kenmore truck driver machine. You love yours? That's awesome. Yeah, I really do like mine too. It's fun to use my mom's. She has a Bernina. I think it's probably about 10 years old already though. But it's still got way more bells and whistles than this guy has. And it's fun to use, but I'm just, I like how manual this one is. There's no computer, anything, limited stitches and all that. I like it. It is. It's a good workhorse. I mean, all that other stuff would be kind of fun to have, but I like knowing that when something's gone wrong with this, it's mechanical. and it's something that I can open up and probably figure out or get fixed or get a new part for it, you know? When all else fails, my guy lives right down the street. And if I have to, I can drop it off and walk home if I need to. When I needed the belt, he had a belt on hand, and he was able to switch it out for me right while I waited there, which is pretty cool. All right, we'll do this for a few more minutes yet. Stack's a whole lot smaller though. We only have this left here. Definitely be able to finish that tomorrow. I don't think we'll finish it tonight though. Yeah, so when I clean it tomorrow, I'll show you what I've been doing for cleaning, and I'm totally open to hearing what I should be doing differently, because I have just started being more diligent about it. And I could take any tips. Few more. We'll do like 3 more or something. That is so important to have a man who loves to fix your camera and near your home. Yeah, he's owned this sewing. It's one of those sewing machine vacuum cleaner places, which is basically a small motor place, right? And he's been there forever. And then we happen to move like really close to it too. So, yeah, except for that machine is awfully heavy. I could, if I wanted to, walk it there and then walk home while he's working on it or something. So that it's definitely convenient for sure. And he always says, "Oh, that's a workhorse. That's so good that you have one of those nice old machines, and they're gonna last a million times longer than these machines now," sort of thing. So he always says he likes my machine and is gonna last forever whenever he sees it. So that's what I like to hear. There we go. This is that fabric that's a little thinner, a little gauzier. We are getting low on thread, period, on this spool of thread that I have right now. So we may actually, I might need to find a different color thread. I'm trying to use up what I have. So I mean, I could go buy this color of thread again probably, but I'd rather just use a different color thread and use that up too. I don't know. I'll stick with this 50 weight oral fill. That's what I'm using right now. I have more of it just in a different color. I don't know how well it's going to match or anything. But I think that'll be the plan. When we quilt, maybe I'll decide on the color a little bit more. Maybe I'll get some more of this gray. I think that would be good for the quilting of it. Or maybe I have some bright red like this or something, and I just do all the quilting in bright red. That'd be kind of fun. Decisions. Luckily, I don't have to make those decisions quite yet. Got a lot of sewing to do yet. I think this will be my last chain stitch for the night. Our last half square triangle, half chevron guy. So here we go. Here's the chain right now. Chain of stuff happening here. These are the finished ones in that pile, and then this stack here is all I have remaining. So we will finish this up tomorrow. Then I think maybe I'll remove my table here with you guys here, and we'll dig into this and try and clean it up a little bit. Yeah, if we don't do it like that, tomorrow we might just press these, and then on Friday maybe we'll have a cleaning day. That might be what we do instead, just because then I can move the table and everything. But we'll get there. Ooh, your first stack is sewn together. Good work, Patty. Yep, I think we'll be there tomorrow night there. So, all right, I'm gonna flip you around and we will call it an evening here. So thanks again for joining me tonight. Again, we are working on the Charming Chevrons quilt pattern by Krista Watson of Krista Quilts. And be sure to check out her site. I have links in the post here. She's gonna be having we're gonna be doing a little giveaway for one of her books here soon. So I will tell you more information about that coming up next week probably. So keep your eyes out for that. And this will go up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies after we're done here. And that is that, guys. So thanks again. And I will see you tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Have a great evening. Good night.